What's up? It's Mike Mal, and you are listening to the Athletor Podcast, where we dive into the processes, mindsets, strategies of some of the most successful athletes and coaches from all walks of life. What's up? It's Mike. You're listening to the Athletor Podcast. This week's guest is NCAA champion Jesse Mendez. Now, look, it is very clear the mindset and the intensity of this kid is what has brought him to the NCAA Finals and beyond. He also kind of gets into some of the things that he thought he did well and some of the things that he thought he could improve at the Olympic team trials and beyond. And guess what? He's got a favorite wrestling shoe that might surprise you. Check it out. Strap in, kids. It's the Athletor Podcast coming up next. Jesse Mendez in the house, dude. It is good to see you. We were just catching up before we turned the mics on, but it's always good to catch up with you. One of the realest dudes in the NCAA. I'm so happy you came on today. I appreciate you taking the time for us, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's always good talking to you. I feel like it's been too long.
It has been too long. So since we've spoken last, you won one of those NCAA titles. That's pretty good.
How'd
that feel, bud?
Yeah, that one felt good. It's something me and my parents have talked about since I was like 8. And you think about it as a kid, and then when it finally happens, it's kind of surreal. So it feels good, but we're not done yet.
Right. And I didn't think you would be, but like let's kind of walk through what changed aside from the weight. What changed from freshman to sophomore year? What in your estimation changed the most?
Coming into college, I thought I was ready. I thought I was going to be the guy right off the rip. And, it's just sometimes it don't work out like that. And, it's kind of a newsflash. Like you gotta do more. So, after the season, I looked back and watched my matches. And I just was super upset. I kind of hated the way I wrestled 65 minutes at the national tournament. And, I don't really ever wrestle matches to one point. I feel like I'm always going to try to blow it open. And, I think that's just kind of a mentality switch that I had, that I was going to go in and just, Jaggers told me all season, it doesn't have to be close. It doesn't have to be close. No matter who it is, you can blow the match open. Just the only way you're going to lose is if you let the guy dictate the match. So, obviously I got better in positions and I got better in my defense, my offense, my counterattacks, but a lot of it was just knowing that I'm a good enough wrestler to beat anybody in the country and, just letting it fly, getting to my attacks, creating these flurries, and that's when I wrestle well.
Yeah, but what does that look like on a day-to-day? What does it look like saying, okay, because it's one thing to say, yeah, I can bust open every match. That's great. But
Yeah.
now I gotta have the lungs, I gotta have the legs, I gotta have the correct position. Like that. There's a lot more that goes into not just the mental decision. Like what goes into that on the day-to-day, brother?
Yeah, I don't even really think it's something that I changed in my practicing. I mean, obviously in practice, I'm trying to blow it open as well, because you can't do it in a match unless you do it in practice. So obviously, I mean, I've been training like that since I was 8 years old. But I just got better in positions and I became more confident in where I wasn't as confident, especially in my defense and my counterattacks. And I think that's somewhere where I got really good. And I think you kind of saw it. I mean, guys kind of stopped shooting on me towards the end of the year. They didn't want to be in front headlock or counterattack. So I was just, finding ways to get to the positions where I'm good and keeping them out of the positions where they're well. So it's not really something I changed in the practice room. It's more so just trying to stay in the positions where I'm good and keep them out of the positions where they're good.
How do you go about building confidence in a position that you may be struggling in or maybe isn't your best position?
Just getting repetition. You're never going to get better at something if you don't, do it in the room, if you're not trying it against the guys in the room. So it's going to be really hard for someone like Jaggers to show me a move and then I go execute it against Rutgers or Penn State or somebody. So it's got to be something that, like, you show me it and I got to work it for however long. And, a lot of the stuff I hated in the state tournament stuff that Jagger showed me the summer before. So it's, it's stuff that I have to get repetition on until it's so, like, second nature that I don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, but you say that, right? But I think you're making an assumption. And because I know you, I know you're being deadly truthful. But like a lot of kids, they just don't like putting themselves in positions that they suck in. And that's a hard thing to get over, dude. Like, I got kids that are like, my son's one of them. Like, hey, you suck from space. You suck from space. Like, you gotta move your feet, and you suck from space. You're great from ties, but not everyone wants to. Like, everyone in this room knows not to go into an underhook with you. They're not stupid. So how do you and maybe this is something that also kind of came when you were a kid, but how do you force yourself to put yourself in those positions where you're just not great in yet?
Now, I got a good example. I mean, right after I lost to Bo Bartlett, you know, it's a super technical error on my part. I kind of went snap to like an ankle pick on the left side. And, you know, I should have doubled off, but I fell into a crackdown where my shoulder was out of the pocket. He did a good job of hitting the corner. Mm-hmm. And I kind of froze and tried to stalemate the position, and I ended up getting a danger count. Mm-hmm. So we went back in the room the next 2 weeks leading up to Big Tens, and we had multiple people put me in the same position, giving me different feels, and I have to find a way to make it my position. So it's like, you could put me in whatever position, but I have to find a way to make it my position. Like, I can't, when I'm a step behind in a position, that's when I'm going to lose. I have to make it my position, and I have to try to forward the position, or else I'm an entire step behind the position. The more I let you dictate where we're going, is the farther behind I'm going to be in the position. So, I mean, I'm going to lose it. And that's kind of what happened in that match. And, you know, we went back and watched it and made the adjustments.
Okay. I do want to get to trials here in a little bit, but I do want to go to the kind of Wayback Machine here. Talk to me about the recruiting process to Ohio State. It was obviously not your only option. You're one of the top recruits in the country coming out of high school. Talk to me about what got you to narrow it down to Ohio State, and then part B to that question is what was the one thing that was like, okay, well, I need to be a Buckeye?
Oh yeah, I mean, I say it all the time. I think I have the best coaching staff in the country, and but regardless, if you have the mentality, you can get it done in a garage. Like you're gonna be good if you're good. So
you just wrestled somebody that did, right? Like Alira's got it done. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from the cats.
Oh, that's how it is. I mean,
but it's Nickerson.
Yeah. If you want it bad enough, you can do it anywhere. Mm-hmm. And I tell kids that all the time. Like, if you want it bad enough, you could do it out of a garage. Like, it doesn't matter. So a lot of it was, where can I become a better person and a better wrestler? And just, you know, you got to surround yourself with the right people. I really clicked with Jaggers and Stieber and Tom. And, you know, I just felt like they were going to be the guys that were going to bring me to that next level. But, you know, it's weird. I liked everybody I talked to, but there's just something. I took my first visit to Ohio State and immediately was like, dang, this is like, I could really see myself being here. But I'm going to take these next 4 visits just because I feel like I owe it to myself. I don't want to count anybody out, you know, everywhere's cool. And it honestly was really narrow. I mean, I really liked Michigan. I really liked Penn State, but, you know, I want to be the guy that's going to start a dynasty. I want to be the guys that knock off Penn State. And, you know, I just don't want to be another guy. I want guys to look back and be like, yo, Jesse Mendez is the reason why Ohio State, you know, started climbing that mountain and became a dynasty. So that's what I want to do. And I knew that Jaggers and Stieber and Tom and guys like Sasso and D'Amelio are going to be the guys that help me get there. And, you know, I think that's kind of what's happening right now.
Was that kind of the straw that broke the camel's back? Like, either you could go to Penn State and be another face on the wall, and that's cool. Like, but that train's been rolling for the last 12, 13 years. Or was it something that Jaggers said to you? Was it something that Tom kind of inferred? Tell me what was like, okay, I gotta be here now.
I don't even know if it's really anything anybody said, just because, you know, you got to remember, it's a business, and not everybody's going to care about you. As weird as it is to say, recruiting's a business.
Yeah.
If I get hurt and I go somewhere, are they going to recruit over me? Am I going to have to hit the transfer portal? You can just kind of feel with Ohio State that, like, they're so authentic. They're going to shoot you straight. They're going to have your best interest, no matter if you're hurt. I mean, shit, we had 4 guys have season-ending injuries this year, and you would never even tell. I mean, they got about as much love as I did. So it's like they're as authentic as it's going to be, and they want what's best for me. And I just feel like if I'm comfortable where I'm at and I have the people to help push me, I'm going to strive there.
Does it feel good? This is a pretty rhetorical question. Does it feel good when you look around the NCAA at the way recruiting's going? And when I say that, I mean picking people out of the transfer portal. And you guys have kind of done it with homegrown guys, and you're winning, doing pretty well for yourselves. I mean, it's got to feel pretty good, right?
No, it feels good. I mean, it's built in the room. You see it. I mean, our team works so hard, and you know, even myself, I beat so many money bags these past 2 years, and you know, I do it to win. I wanna be the best that ever did it, and you know, the money's gonna come. I'm not too worried about it. I want to win national titles. I want to win world titles. I want to win Olympic titles. The money will come down the road. I'm not worried about that. I want to win matches.
I don't know how, Jesse. I know you, and I know that you're being honest with me, and I know that that's truthful, and you're coming from your heart. But I think that it's very fickle right now. Mm-hmm. You know, it's fickle, and I have so much respect for what you and guys like Parker Keckheisen have done. Right, like Parker. He passed up some bags, dude. Dude passed up some bags, dude. Sure. Okay, like I just don't want a guy like you to ever have regrets. So how do you? Where does that come from? Where does that, like? Because I know John Smith had it, right? Like he had the opportunity to make a lot of money when he was out of college, but he's like, no. It's $200 a week. It's $800 a month until I win another gold medal. Where does that come from?
It's just loyalty. I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me. I mean, the people at Ohio State are the reason where I'm at. So it's like, why would I bite the hand that feeds me? Because I'm not. They put a lot of trust in recruiting me, giving me whatever scholarship. They had a lot of trust recruiting me, bringing me on campus, expecting me to be the guy. Why am I the guy? Why would I be the guy to transfer to another school just because they're offering me a bag? And I'm gonna tell it now. You'll never see me not know Ohio State soon. It's just not gonna happen. I'm not in it for the money, and you know, they put a lot of trust in me to be a leader and to be that guy, and I'm gonna be that guy.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I think, and maybe this is just the optimist in me. Maybe I'm a bleeding, you know, romantic, but I think that might be the new currency moving forward in this sport, because I don't know that the bag's always going to be there in this sport. No, right? I don't think it really is. I think guys like you who had the opportunity to leave multiple times, guys like Parker who had the opportunity to leave multiple times and didn't, are going to set trends in this sport, and that makes me feel a lot better about it. That said, how do you see, like, winning an Olympic gold medal is one thing, but like, you got to get to that point too, because not until you get to that point do you really start seeing the money at a senior level. And even then it's not a given, right? Like, it's not like JB's an anomaly. JB makes really good money, but he's kind of the anomaly.
No.
How do you reconcile with yourself, like, okay, what does the post-college career look like for Jesse Mendez?
Well, I don't want to just be anybody. I want to be that anomaly. So I'm going to hold myself to that accountability until I am. You can't walk like you're the champ unless you are. So it's like, and you got to walk like it before you are. Like, you got to walk around like you're a national champ before you're a national champ. That's just how it is. You got to breathe like a national champ. You got to eat like a national champ. You got to live your day-to-day life like a national champ before you are. So it changes nothing. I'm going to walk around like I'm going to be an Olympic champ until I am. Well, and the work ethic doesn't change. So I got to put the work in every single day. this sport doesn't get easier the better you are. It stays the same every time. But I have the work ethic ingrained in me since I was a kid, and I'll keep working until I do.
Yeah, you're gonna work it till the wheels fall off of you.
Exactly.
I love
my
that.
body can't take it anymore.
I love it. How's the body holding up? You feeling all right?
I'm healthy as can be.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Talk to me about the trials. How did you feel about your Olympic team trials?
I felt good. I wish a couple things would have went my way in some positions, but you can't complain. This first tournament I get to wrestle these guys I used to idolize, see where I'm at. And it's just kind of one of those tournaments where I showed everybody where I was at before they even knew. I was probably the only person that really knew where I was at. And I thought it was a good tournament. Wish I would have won that second semis, but it is what it is.
Zane, right?
Mm-hmm.
What surprised you about him aside from like the uppercuts and the thumbs to the eyes and the
Yeah, for sure. He's strong. He's tactical. And he's a little dirty in some spots, but that's wrestling. You can't really complain about it.
No, I'm playing, dude. Rubbin's racing, man. You gotta get your thumb in an eye sometimes, and it happens.
No, I'll never complain about it. But he's strong. He gets to the positions he wants to be, and he keeps you out of your spots. So it's a tough style, but there's certain spots I got to get better, and I think that's a match I could very easily see going the other way.
Yeah, what position? Because head in the hole, like head underneath, I think is the one that kind of stands out to me. What were you thinking in there at the time? Do you remember?
A little bit off breaking through the hand tie. He's really, really dominant with his collar tie, and he's going to hand fight you hard. So trying to find an opening. I wish I would have pulled the trigger on my single leg a little bit more. I think I forced the one shot that I got taken down on.
Mm-hmm.
Watching it back, I was pretty mad about that one. But just getting to my ties, keeping my hands and feet moving. I think what I remember mostly is I wish I would have hand fought the first period the same way I hand fought the second period. I felt like I was a step ahead in that second period, and that's why I got a good amount of flurries going and getting to my spots. So if I think about what I wrestled that first period, the way I wrestled the second period, I think I could have won the match. But that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes.
You mentioned that the Olympic team trials was kind of one of your first tournaments where you kind of wrestled a bunch of people that you kind of idolized growing up. What's your mindset as you approach a match where you're going to be wrestling somebody you grew up, looking up to?
Yeah, I've kind of always known that there was going to be a point where I wrestled some of these guys, some of these younger guys like Yanni or like a McKenna. So I kind of knew always that I'd end up wrestling them, just when it was going to happen. So I've kind of mentally prepared knowing that I'd have to wrestle them. But, you just go at it like any other match, get to your offense, get to where you want to be. So it really doesn't change anything technically other than against the style, obviously. But, just because I watched them growing up doesn't mean I have to change how I'm going to wrestle them.
Who were at what point do you kind of come to the realization like, oh shit, I'm wrestling Yanni right now. That dude got 4.
Well, yeah. No, Yanni was one of my favorite wrestlers when I was in high school. Just watching the way he operates, his defense, the way he gets to his attacks, he's a fun style to watch. So but it's just one of those things that eventually I'm gonna have to beat these guys, and it kind of turns from idolizing to rivalries. So, if we end up having a rivalry, I'm fine with it if that's how it's got to be.
You mentioned earlier that it doesn't have to be close. How much of that was going through your head in the NCAA Finals?
That's a weird one because, we had a game plan and I think that's the worst match I wrestled against Bartlett, which is kind of weird to say.
Yeah.
I didn't get to where I wanted to be. I didn't get many attacks off. He did a good job stopping me with his collar tie, and I wasn't having as much success clearing it. So that's a weird one where I didn't really get to open it up as much as I wanted to. He's super stingy in the hand fight, and he's super stingy in his defense. And he kind of stung me at 10-3 when I wanted to go. Like he'd sting me right before I'm about to go. So then I got to fight off an attack for 30 seconds instead of getting to my flurry. So, he had a good game plan, but it's one of those spots where I put too much work in to let it lose this way. And I'm going to fight every single takedown until there's no time on the clock.
Yeah. So one of the things that I forget who I was talking to. It might have been on a podcast. I don't even know. They all kind of flow together at this point, Joel Shaw. But I said to somebody, don't give Jesse Mendez any reason to have more confidence, because now that he's all like, and it's funny because I made sure to preface this by saying Jesse Mendez knew when he graduated high school, not thought, not hoped, knew when he graduated high school that he was going to win an NCAA title very soon. Now, I think you thought you were going to win one freshman year, and I don't know, you weren't terribly far off, right? Like you weren't way far off. You made the team, so that's good. But I guess what I'm trying to say is now you know how to.
Yeah.
And that's a thing. I said to the person that was in front of me, I think it was a personal conversation between someone else and I said, I don't think he's losing another match. I'm not trying to put any more pressure on you, but something tells me you don't mind it. Is there something in you that changes once you've accomplished a goal like that?
No, there's nothing that changes. I'm just on to the next thing. I win a national title. I want the Hodge next year, and I want the Hodge year after that. So I'm coming to win a Hodge next year, and I mean, you'll see it from the start of the season. I want to put points up on the board.
Yeah. What is it? What position of yours has to get better in order for you to win that Hodge this coming year?
Just get to the legs. I got to get a little bit better getting to the legs. I feel like I'm good now, but my finishing's there. Get a little cleaner in my finishes, and just push the pace. I like when there's scrambles. I like when there's flurries. So the more flurries I can make, the better the match is going to go for me.
Speaking of flurries, 65K, it might almost be better, not better, but it might almost be a little bit more insightful for you to kind of look from afar at how this Olympic bracket shakes out, because something tells me that it's great. Like 65K is always one of the deepest weight classes for sure. But I think that there are guys in there that are kind of towards the end of their career. Now, there's always going to be guys coming up, especially at 65K. Guys like Musakayev, I don't know that he's got a whole lot left in him.
Yeah.
Right. To train at that level. And Zane, I cannot imagine he wants to make 65K for 4 more years. Like that dude, I don't know what he has to do to make 65K. It's beyond me. But who are you watching right now to kind of prepare yourself for the next level, for the senior level?
Like who in the bracket?
Just in general.
Yeah, I mean, I watch a little bit of foreign wrestling. I'm a big fan of Odaguru. I watch a lot of Satiev stuff, but honestly, I look at the 65 kilo Olympic bracket, and it might sound blunt, but I wasn't that impressed with a lot of the guys. I don't think a lot of them look really good at that. The last chance.
The rank, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really think anybody looked crazy good that I couldn't beat. So I mean, I'm confident against anybody. I think I can hang with every single one of them. And there's some style matchups that might be a little tough, but I like that stuff. I like when it's going to be tough. I like when I got to solve a puzzle mid match, and I don't really see any foreigner that I can't beat. So when it is my time to be that guy, I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how you do with a lot of that foreign kind of feel. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Jaggers kind of has it though, right? Like Jaggers kind of has that goofy kind of feel to him. Do you ever ask him, hey, can you give me a look like Satiev here or something like that?
Not really. I mean, he's about as funky as it gets. He's not going to be in normal position. Same with Sasso. neither of them really wrestle an American style. Like
Mhm.
they're close to impossible to take down. So it's like I think that's why my finishes got so good, is because I wrestled with Sammy for a year straight. And I had to fail 300 takedowns before I got my first one. So it's like you get a guy like that and you get into a shot 500 times. If I don't get better at finishing a shot, then I'm doing something wrong. And I got to go look in the mirror and figure it out, because it's not wrestling.
That doesn't have much to do with wrestling, does
Yeah.
it? All right. You mentioned failing a bunch, especially as a freshman, especially in a room like yours. As for someone that did have as much success as you did in high school, was that something that was difficult for you?
Yeah. I mean, it definitely was a big eye opener. I thought I was ready, and then, I get my hands on Sammy and I'm getting whooped on. And I'm like, dude, this is not how I thought this was gonna go. Like, this is like, I mean, there was one day I came in and it was
That
live
seems
day.
excessive.
Yeah. No, I mean, there was one day I came in on a live day and Sammy must have been feeling good that day, because he tuned me up so bad and it ruined my day. Like, I thought about it all day. But I mean, it's just one of those things where you come in every day just with the same mindset that, he probably tech me that day. I'm coming in tomorrow. I'm only losing by 10. I'm gonna get a takedown today. And obviously it keeps moving on. And then all of a sudden we're having heater matches. So it sucked that first couple months of getting whooped on. But I mean, that's what I wanted. I didn't want to come to a room and be the guy right off the rip. I wanted a guy like Sasso who could take me under his wing and show me what it takes to be in the national finals. So I think that's what I needed at the time. And I think that's why I'm where I'm at.
What position was the biggest struggle first couple months?
Finishing on basically anybody.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, Sasso, I don't know what, I probably got my first takedown on Sasso like 2 months in, 3 months in. It was like 60 to 90 days I didn't get a takedown. And because I mean that dude is so good there. Body
He's
crazy.
squirrely for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
he sits corner better than just about anyone in the country for
but he
sure.
told me, he was like, dude, if you can finish on me, you can finish on anybody in the country. Like it's
True
not
story.
gonna get tougher than this. He's a little bit bigger than me. He's got the years on me, and this is his best spot. Like, he's a dog here. It's like if I can finish on him, then I'm super confident I can finish on anybody in the NCAA.
Do you think that rough first couple months impacted kind of your competition or your approach to competition?
No, I mean, it didn't shoot my confidence down, if that's what you're asking. It's the same, dude. Once I kind of came to a realization that I got to put a little bit more work in, it was easy to come in every day and just try to get better. I knew it was gonna be tough. I knew I wasn't gonna come in there and beat Sasso, but to get beat that bad, I was like, geez.
That's gonna
like
sting
that.
a little.
Yeah, I haven't been beat like that for a while. So it's like, all right, we gotta get better.
Take me back to that loss to Bartlett. Some questionable calls. How do you deal with something like that?
Yeah, I mean, that was a tough one. That one hurt bad. And but I mean, you take it on the chin. And I mean, we were right back in the. I mean, I think we had a dual meet. Oh no, that was our second dual meet that weekend. Uh-huh. But I mean, you take it on the chin. You go back to the room, and I was talking about it earlier. We went back and we worked some of those positions for the next 2-3 weeks, because I mean, I expected to see him at some point in the NCAA tournament and the Big Ten tournament. Actually, I didn't even think about that. But you just put a game plan together. I mean, everybody's like, oh, Penn State does well at the national tournament, they're gonna have a game plan. Everybody's game planning. It's just who can execute it. And that's kind of what it was. I was just getting better at positions where I thought we would end up, and just finding a way to get to my attacks based off his hand fight.
What do you guys have to do? What do you have to do? I mean, what do you have to do? It ain't getting easier. Like they're reloading, man. I mean, they got a world champion coming in at 25. They got, Kirkleet back at heavy. what do you got to do to beat these guys? I mean, at a certain point, you have to ask yourself, okay, we are going to have tournament of our lives in certain weight classes for this to happen. How do you, as a leader, bring that out of the people around you?
Yeah, I mean, that's how it is. I want them to have a reloaded team. I don't want there to be any question on why we won. I don't want anybody to have an excuse on, oh, they were on a down year. No, I want them to be at their best when we beat them. And, it's just going to be one of those things where we have to have a couple of guys break through and, have a good season. And, they have the right people around them. And, on my part, I'm in their ear the whole time. If they need a position, I'll help them. But, it's just going to be a couple of guys that need to break through. We have a lot of guys that are right on the cusp of being really, really good. So it's just, finding those mental edges and just remembering that, like, he's another dude, regardless of if he has a Penn State singlet on. So once you come to terms with that and you're like, he's a guy like me. Like, he breathes the same air as me. He eats the same food as me. Like, he's no different than me. Then it's easy to open up and, win those matches, those big matches.
Who's one of the younger kids coming in this Buckeye program that you've kind of started to take under your wing now?
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to help my guy Vinny Kill carry out, but we got Davino coming in. I'm really excited for Davino.
Kid's tough.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a bright future, and I'm gonna do my best to help him reach his goals. I want to be a national champ, but I want to be a team national champ. So I'm gonna help those guys as much as I can, and show them what it takes to be a national champ. And yeah, I mean, that's it. I want to start that dynasty, and we want guys like Davino. We want to get Marcus Blaze. There's so many guys we want, and but it starts in the room. You got to have the right.
But you know what though, Jess? It's funny, man. It's like one of the things that Kale has been able to do probably better than anyone else is convince guys to sit the bench, right? I mean, so you're like, think about what you're saying. You, Bouzakis, the kid from Illinois. You just said his name. I'm sorry.
Davino.
Yeah, Davino, Marcus Blaze. These are all very similar body types, very similar size, right? You got to say something. Like, I don't know what Kale has been able to do to get a Tyler Kasich to go to Penn State when he quite obviously sees Shane Van Ness right in front of him. Now, granted, Van Ness goes out with an injury, he gets a spot, whatever. But what do you have to do? Like, would you have gone to a program that had a national champion and All-American two weight classes that you were looking at?
Well, I mean, it's
4 years about.
I'm a bet on myself in any scenario.
Right.
I mean, if that's how it is, and I feel that was the school I wanted to go to, I would have gone. I mean, I bet on myself, and that's just kind of how I look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting thing though, man, because it's tricky. It's really tricky. Like, these kids are good, and Davino, that kid's the real deal. That kid's the real deal. I'm really excited to see what he does right off the get. What else, Joel Shaw? Anything else before we get to our quicker questions?
No, let's get to it.
Let's get to it. All right. So don't think about these. Just answer as quickly as you can. You ready?
Yep.
Best wrestling shoe of all time. Ready? Go.
Oh, geez. What were they called? Aggressors back in the day when I was like maybe 12. Those were my shoe. Maybe not. Right. Back when I was like 12, those were heat.
Those were the jam, huh? All right. You got 4, and they got to be American. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of wrestling?
All right. Well, I'm gonna get my guy Stever in there.
All right, 4-timer.
Yeah. I'll put like a David Taylor in there. I'll put JB in there.
Okay.
I'll put like a John Smith.
Okay. Nice JW. That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. All right. Last one before we let you go. If you had a magic wand and you could change one thing about the sport of wrestling, what would it be?
And that's a tough one. Maybe finding a way to keep guys creating flurries. I feel like in folk style, there's too many workarounds to kind of play the rules and play the clock and find a way to stall. And I think that's why I like freestyle more, is you're basically going to get offense the whole time. I feel like there's a little bit better of a base ground to keep offense going in freestyle, whereas in folk style, there's so many workarounds to, kind of hide that you're stalling. But circle in, act like you're circling in. There's so many ways, and I feel like there's too many ways.
You know what's interesting? You say my son does the same thing. I like freestyle a lot more. I'm like, but you're really, really good at folk style. You think you're better at folk style than you are at freestyle, or you think you're better at freestyle?
I think I'm better at freestyle.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
What makes you say that?
My finishes are a little bit cleaner. Like I don't have to, there's a lot more or a lot less margin for error. So I feel like my clean finishes help me in that aspect. I have a double, so I don't really have to worry about getting chest wrapped. I have a lot of things in my tool bag that kind of play towards freestyle more so than folk style. But I mean, obviously they work in freestyle. But I just feel like a lot of the stuff I do is really correlates to freestyle, and I got a nasty gut.
Yeah, you do. That's true. Yeah, all right. Jesse Mendez, thank you so much for giving up your time for us, brother. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Sir, later.
Wait. Don't go anywhere before you hit that next button. If you enjoyed listening to this episode, do us a huge favor. Click that subscribe button. And if you're so inclined, leave a review and share it.
What you want to know, man? Welcome to the show.